Folks, at the time that I'm recording this video, this 20-gallon long Endler live bear tank is approaching the 120-day mark, and I can't believe time is going that fast. That is crazy, but a lot has happened. A lot of good things have happened. We've also had some challenges along the way, but yeah, let's talk about it. We got the frozen Daphne on some tweezers. I'm not gonna give this whole thing to them, but I'm just gonna kind of stick it in the water and just kind of shake it a little bit. So frozen Daphne is awesome because, I mean, obviously fish like it a lot. They go crazy after it. It's very small and it's suitable for a variety of different sizes of fish. And as someone who owns fish of all different sizes in the nano fish category, it's I mean, it's like kind of like a one food fits all, right? Every fish that I have really likes to eat it, and yeah, it makes my shopping easier. So it's great for their digestive system. Tropical fish get constipated very easily. They're smaller, and a lot of the foods that we give them are like literally the size of their stomach. So Daphnia is very small, and it really helps kind of flush things out. And not only that, but it's not dry. It's like actually wet food. So you give a fish who's constipated, you know, their poop is like as long as them, their body, then try giving them some Daphnia. In addition to everything I just said, Daphnia also sinks relatively quickly, which is good. So if you have a bunch of scavengers like otos or pygmy cories or anything that is just a bottom dwelling fish that is also like an omnivore, it's great for them too. So once all the Daphnia kind of goes to the bottom, all the pygmy cories in here, all the snails and all the shrimp are just gonna have at it. And essentially, yeah, just due to the nature of how Daphnia kind of floats around everywhere and distributes itself evenly, everyone here is happy. While we're at it, let's also feed this tank too. Here. Oh yeah, man, they're going crazy. Whoa. I think she's hungry too, yeah? All right, let's see. All right, so let's actually jump into the tank. So the first thing you probably notice is this peace lily here. Now, for those of you who are veterans of the channel, you know this is from the betta peace lily paludarium that is no longer set up. We took that down, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I made a whole video about it. But yeah, we're just keeping the peace lily here, keeping it in the water, and as you can see, the roots are tremendous. It looks beautiful. So while I did stick this plant here haphazardly, in search of a spot to put it, I actually really like the way it looks here, and the fish seem to really like it as well. It's fun to watch them kind of swim in and out of the roots. It's super cool looking. So yeah, they seem to really enjoy kind of that coverage and the shade that it provides. So anytime fish are happy, I'm happy. Obviously that's our #1 priority. So one thing that I'm currently dealing with right now, and this is something that happens in pretty much every aquarium that I own, at some point I have to deal with it. So we're currently dealing with a cladophora outbreak. And that's like this stringy stuff that's kind of growing on the plants and on the driftwood. But a little while back, I did uproot some of these crypts because I was trying to get some plants for another project, and I uprooted a bunch of substrate and dirt went flying everywhere. So perhaps that's the reasoning, maybe excess nutrients in the water column. So cladophora typically isn't that big of a deal, at least in my experience. I find that so long as you're able to physically remove it in a practical sense, meaning that it's not like overbearing, and so long as your plants are still growing, I find that eventually it kind of just goes away. So we have quite a bit of it in here right now, so let's go ahead and remove some. I like to show this stuff on camera because it's something that pretty much every fish keeper is going to deal with at one point or another. And you know, a lot of people like to post their pristine fish tanks on Instagram and whatnot, but that is like 1% of what we all deal with, if I'm being completely honest. So, you know, I like to post these kind of videos to kind of show you the struggles I'm dealing with, just because it, you know, I don't want to discourage new people in this hobby from thinking that they're doomed when they see something that isn't quite going their way. So yeah, I would say 95% of this hobby is problem solving and trying to figure out what the hell is wrong. And the other 5% of this hobby is actually sitting back and enjoying your tank after you've spent a week banging your head against the wall trying to figure out how to solve whatever problem is at bay that you're dealing with. And honestly, it's a natural part of your ecosystem. I don't think it actually looks terrible. Like, I'm not gonna go like crazy with trying to remove all of it. Just want to get some of the bigger bits because I don't want to choke out some of the more sensitive plants in here, such as like the Anubias and yeah, the slower growing plants. All right, here we go. So one thing that I was actually pretty surprised about was the height of the dwarf Sagittaria in here, and it's just trying to get as much light as it can, and it's just traveling higher instead of spreading. But either way, it looks pretty cool. But let's go ahead and trim it. I want to stimulate new growth, and I think at some point we're going to raise the light level on here, and maybe that'll prevent it from growing as high, and maybe it can kind of spread out more. So yeah, the reason why I had this light kind of dim is because we were having some hair algae problems when I first set this tank up, but I think we've since graduated from that, and we could possibly afford to raise the light level. We'll see, but either way, let's go ahead and trim this dwarf Sagittarius. Oh, we got a bunch of dwarf Sag floating on the top now that I cut. All right, we just trimmed the dwarf Sagittaria, and you can see we have a bunch of air bubbles coming out of the little hole where I made the incisions. It's pretty cool. I always love seeing that. Love the air coming out. Looks like purling. Obviously, it's not purling, but pretty cool nonetheless. What's going on, everyone? So it's currently the next day, and as you can see, we have our peace lily out of the water. Fish aren't too happy about it, but it's only temporary. I'm just kind of taking a look at the roots and just kind of getting some of the gunk out of there, but yeah, we'll put this back in here. But while this plant's out of here, we're gonna put some more plants in this whole jungle area, so let's go ahead and get some plants. All right, so we have a selection of new plants that I actually want to add in the background here. Don't mind the detritus kind of floating everywhere. I was moving some rocks around and kind of made a mess. But yeah, as you can see here, we have some little Amazon sword plants. This is Echinodorus grandifolius. Super cool. It'll grow really tall, and if given the chance, it will grow like out of the top. So that'll be really cool, perhaps in the summer when it gets more humid. Here we have pennywort, which is a form of hydrocotyle, which will also grow immersed if given the chance, and hopefully it does in the summer when it gets humid. But yeah, super cool plant. It kind of looks like a lily pad almost, and it'll kind of just thinly spread around the background. It'll look really cool. And last but not least, we have some Rotala rotundifolia that I got from the shrimp generator tank. Why not? We have a ton of this stuff, and it looks great in every tank that I put it in. I love this plant. So when I first made this tank, I was very intentional, and I wanted Cryptocorean brown to be the only background plant in this tank, because for one, I have never used crypt as a background. I've used it as sort of like a foreground plant, wedged it next to rocks and whatnot. But to see it as strictly a background plant, I was curious to see if I could make it work. And actually, I think we kind of pulled it off. It's a pretty cool plant. But that being said, we saw what it's capable of, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing and kind of switch it up a little bit. So I'm not gonna lie, this Echinodorus is in extremely rough shape. A lot of the stems are completely detaching, and there's a lot of rot going on. That said, there are some healthy root systems too, so hopefully we can rehabilitate it. And yeah, basically the bottom line is this package got lost in a FedEx distribution center, and these were essentially in a plastic bag in an uninsulated box for like a month. So it's a miracle that they're even here. So. Well, folks, I think this is pretty much the end of this episode. As you can see, it's a pretty simple, straightforward video. Nothing too crazy happened, but that's kind of how I like it. No disasters occurred, and we just kind of added some more plants and cleaned up the tank a little bit. So, yeah, this tank is looking promising overall, and as the tank matures, we will be adding more Endlers, possibly more guppies, maybe mollies. Let me know down in the comments what you would like to see in here. Should I keep it strictly Endlers and guppies, or should I add mollies? Maybe I should just make it a live bearers tank in general. Nothing specific, but yeah, as mentioned earlier, the plants that I did put in here were kind of in rough shape because they were stuck in a distribution center for quite some time. That said, they should bounce back. I've seen plants in worse condition bounce back before, so one like equal one prayer for the Echinodorus grandifolius. Anyway, the timer is about to go out. As you can see, the light behind me is starting to dim a little bit. And yeah, peace. I'll see you all next time.